Hi out there, this is Carrie Mubarak bringing you the new moon view from Wooing Nature. The new moon is coming in very soon, and so we just want to kind of get everybody prepared. This is for air signs. Air signs are my Geminis, my Libras, and my Aquariuses. Okay? Air sign people, you guys are our thinkers. You all are our cognates of the zodiac. You all are thinking people. You like to use your mind. You like to keep your mind active. Some of you are avid readers. Some of you are avid talkers. Some of you are avid listeners too, believe it or not. But for the most part, you're communicative, very communicative, and you like to be social. So you all are also our social, add to our social dynamic. So any kind of communication that we have with each other is ruled by Mercury, and Gemini runs that area. Okay, Libras, you all are about, bringing people together, everything being balanced, everything being in order, but not in that order picky kind of way, just like harmonious. You all like harmony, um, and you also are astute about social interactions. So that kind of intelligence, the type of intelligence that deals with us connecting with each other and having good connections and that kind of thing. And then Aquarius, as you know, y'all are y'all are just, hey, new ideas, new concepts, new reasoning, new ways of doing things. Hey, we're not going to do things the same way as we've always done them. We're going to think about this differently. So you all are the ones that think differently, okay? So, the new moon that's coming in, if you want to know more astrologically about what's happening with the new moon, you can check me out on Patreon. You can subscribe there to the Astro Pulse, and it's a weekly audio recording of what's happening in the stars, with the moon, with the sun, whatever it is that jumps out at me that I know you all need to know about, right? But what this is just a focus for the new moon. So for those of you who are new to connecting to your moon energies, the new moon is the time when the sun and the moon are walking hand in hand together. The full moon is when they're sitting opposite each other, they're mirroring each other. But during the new moon is when they are walking hand in hand. So if we think about the sun and the moon, the sun represents your masculine and the moon represents your feminine. It's your outward and your inner. They're coming together, and that represents a certain kind of balance. And this happens during the new moon, when the moon, quote unquote, goes dark. The moon never goes dark. It's always the moon. It's always doing what it's doing, but it's really just a reflection of the sun that you're seeing and how your feminine and your masculine are working together. So the new moon is a time to kind of bring those energies together, and for it to be a time of reflection, but it's also a time to create, because you create from the dark. Your ideas come out of nowhere. They come out of the cosmos. They come out of the heavens. They come from you and from spirit, right? So the dark time is a time to create, but it's also a time for you to reflect as well. But reflect inwardly, not outwardly. Hope that makes sense. All right, so air signs, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 5 cards in a medicine wheel for you. These cards are going to let you know what you need to be focused on during the new moon time and what's going to happen right after the new moon time. These things do not operate in a vacuum like people talk about. Oh, the new moon is today. Yes, it is officially the new moon. Happens on a specific day and sometimes and a specific time as well. But the energy that comes in with the new moon comes in a few days before, and then usually we say a couple of days after, but it really sets the pace for you until the next new moon, or until the next full moon, or whichever way you want to think about it, or however you choose to kind of be in that cycle. Some people work from new moon to new moon. Some people work new moon to full moon because they want to know what's happening, and they do their little checkup around the full moon, and then they keep on going. But the full moon energy can walk with you particularly if it's resonating with you in a certain kind of way that you feel like you need to keep going with it, then keep going with it. So I'm going to do a medicine wheel. This is for air signs. This is for October. This is for new moon. First card up, Tame the Wind. Oh, wow. Perfect for air signs. Air is the wind. It is unseen, sometimes unheard, but it's still there. We cannot breathe without the air, right? We cannot breathe without the wind. However, you know how the wind gets to going and it's really high and it's blowing your hat off, or it's tearing down some stuff? That's a lot of wind. This is about taming the wind. So you have to get in control of your thoughts, air signs, because thoughts aren't everything. There's other aspects to life. You have a physical side, you have your mental side, you have an emotional side, you have a spiritual side. So the air or the mind just represents one thing. Now, the one thing I can tell y'all about air signs, and I'm not trying to get on you, but I am going to tell you this. Sometimes y'all think that's everything, that whatever is happening cognitively and mentally is everything. It's one piece of the puzzle. There's other pieces of the puzzle, and you've got to try to get that together in your mind, right? Because there's you, and then there's the rest of us. You got earth signs, you got water signs, and you got fire signs out there. It's not just air. So though you contribute and you have a good contribution to us, and we need you, because when we need information, we're coming to an air sign. If we need to communicate about something, we're coming to the air sign. If we need to know something, we're coming to the air sign. Okay? About people, about information, about things, new ideas, we're coming to you. Don't worry. You serve your purpose. But sometimes you got to cool some of that out because there's other things happening. And then sometimes also you can get caught up in your own mind and your own thinking, and there's a whole nother world happening around you, and you don't even know about it. And everybody else is wondering what is wrong with you. Probably an earth sign. Anyway, we have a sweat lodge. That means going within. That's a part of taming that wind, air sign. You got to go in. You got to go in and you got to get in touch with your body. You got to go in and get sweaty, funky. Some of y'all need to work out, and you need to work out hard. You need to get an ugly workout going, okay? And you need to sweat. So if you're somewhere where you can sweat, if you're near a sweat lodge or you know about people who do sweat lodges, be careful, because everybody don't know what they're doing in a sweat lodge. They don't. So be careful about how you're going in, because the sweat lodge is a spiritual undertaking. It is a spiritual thing. So if you all are, I don't know, whatever, going to Amazon and dialing up sweat lodge people, I would caution about that. Create your own sweat lodge. You can do that and some of you can do it in the privacy of your own home if it's hot enough. But anyway, the point is to sweat and to release toxins out of your body. Get more physical. You need to get in touch with your physical side during the new moon. Get in touch with your physical side, because what that's going to do is going to help you pull these thoughts together. Your mind be everywhere sometimes. All right. Gatherer, that's been your position. You're the gatherer. You gather information. You take in a lot. But you got to release it. You can't just keep absorb. After a while, you're going to burn out. You're going to burn your mind out. You got to be careful about that. Everybody needs to be careful about that. That's really a warning for everybody. So if you're an air sign, spread the word. All of this multitasking and doing all this stuff and keeping your mind going all the time, watching TV, on social media, talking on the phone, you're at work, you're overtaxing your brain. Your brain has to rest in order for it to really work optimally. So what's happening with people now is their brains are burning out from too much stimulation. And I feel like you all are going to be the harbingers of this message, because you're experiencing it yourself. You know what it feels like. And who better to deliver that message about not overtaxing your mind than somebody who deals in the mind all the time? They're not going to listen to me. I'm worried about money. Okay. All right. So the journey The journey, it is a process. This is going to be a process for you. It's going to be a process of learning. It's going to be a process that gets you in touch with your heart chakra. It's also going to get you in touch with your third eye chakra. Because believe it or not, your third eye, if your mind is too active, it's going to calcify your third eye. It's going to keep your third eye from working optimally. You'll think you're doing it and won't be doing it. You'll be all up in your cognates. You'll be all up in your cognates, and you will not be reaching um, that intuitive space that you're really needing to be in. And that's a part of that journey. So you're going to be doing some learning during this time, and you can expect that. And it's going to add to what you already know, because it's not like this information that you've already been gathering over the years is useless. It's not useless information. People always like to say that about air signs. They're encyclopedias of useless information. It's not that information is useless. It's just that we have Google now. You can look up everything. But hey, you never know. We might need you. You might have a storehouse of information in your brain that we might need later. So, hey, don't knock it. The last card is the giveaway. The giveaway is about releasing. Once again, we got sweat lodges. It's about releasing. It's about letting go. It's about shedding what's inside of you out. It's about getting what's inside of you out, right? It's not all in here, air signs. And the giveaway is about letting go of those things that are no longer needed in your life or that you just can give away. It's about things that you have an abundance of, that you have a surplus of. And whatever you have a surplus of, you can give that and share that. And you all have a surplus of information in your heads. So you can share that information with us when the time comes. But before any of that happens, you've got to pull that together. You've got to bring it in. You've got to hone it. I don't know. Make a category list of the information that you have in your head. Maybe you can start a journal. It'll be like the journal of useless information that's not so useless. And maybe you'll do a journal of each category of things. So maybe that's another good exercise for you. The things that you know, the things that you have knowledge of, start to categorize it and say, well, this is all the knowledge that I have of gardening. This is all the knowledge that I have of how to communicate with people well. This is all of the information that I have gathered about technology. Okay? And put that in your own little, Google thing. I don't know if you do it online, if you have, I don't know, Dropbox or whatever you're using in the cloud, Google Drive, whatever. Make you a doc. Whatever you need to do, or write it down if that's what helps you. But it's all about really getting a handle on the information that you have the most of, because somebody is going to need that information at some point, and you're going to be in a position to give it to them. Okay? So go in, spend some time around the new moon focusing on this information that you have gathered. That's going to be a part of you kind of bringing the things that are in your mind together. You also need to rest your mind and release. Don't forget about that. And again, the journey is ahead of you. It's a journey of heart. And it's going to allow you to be able to really use your mind in the ways that make sense for you, air signs. And that makes sense for the whole. I just got finished doing the earth sign new moon view, and their thing is about taking positions of leadership. It's about, rising, so to speak, to the occasion, but they're about grounding and also about being able to guide us in such a way that things become practical and pragmatic, and that whatever it is that we're getting, whatever it is that we're learning, that it has a usefulness. So once you get your list together and you get your categories together and you're really clear about what it is that you're walking with and that you're working with, then hang on to it. But if you want to connect to another earth sign and share that information with you, they'll be able to discern what of that information is useful and what is useful right now. Okay. It's a good idea to look at the other elements, because the other elements, that'll give you an idea of how you're working with people too, because that's the other thing that's going on astrologically, and I can get more into that on Patreon. But we've got this Pluto Saturn thing happening for a little while longer yet, and it really is about us bringing it together, not doing all this separate outside, you know, outside yourself, nothing outside of yourself. You yourself and you, and you yourself and you, and you. That's not going to jibe much longer. That stuff is going to have to go. And so you might as well get used to it. So collaborative, you know how everybody talking about collaboration, collaboration, collaboration. If you're not collaborating by now, I don't know. You better catch up, because it's that time. We have to bring it together. We can't do this separate thing forever. So if you feel a notion, take a look at the other elements and see what's going on with them, because some of you got friends who are fire signs. Some of you have friends that are earth signs. I'm sure you do. Of course you do. You're not surrounded by a bunch of other air signs. No. Too much of a good thing is going to blow your wig off. Okay? So check in with your other folks. See what other people are focused on during this new moon, and get together. That's the most important thing right now. So, again, if you want to know more about what's happening astrologically around this time, you can subscribe to the Astro Pulse on Patreon, and just look Patreon/Wooing Nature, and you can find me there. But if you also want to get your own personal new moon reading, because there's some things that you got to sort out, and this is the time to do it, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm at Kerri, Kerri, at wooingnature.life. I hope you have a great new moon, and I hope you're having a fabulous life.